Before starting this video, I would like to make a disclaimer not to use this video to self-diagnose or diagnose others. This video is for educational purposes only. If you suspect yourself or someone else to be suffering from bipolar disorder, please seek professional help. With that being said, let's begin. During manic phase, where you might act as, I don't want to say crazy or erratic because I don't think they are fair terms for bipolar. I think acting out of character, acting a little bit more egotistical, acting like you are on top of the world, you feel empowered, you feel this energy surge that is insane, that is something that normal people will never get. It is like being on illicit drugs, that is really the best way I can put it. It's the sense you feel this euphoria and this inhalation, and you just think that this world is your oyster, which you think is a great thing, right? It can be. You become incredibly more creative, you have so much more energy with no need for sleep, but it can be destructive when you go in the manic or hypomanic phases. Because for me, during mania, I start to believe I can do anything, accomplish anything, and I always look back after I crash from those episodes because you always do. What goes up must come down, and when you are down, it also becomes hard to control, especially if one has suicidal ideation. Welcome to my channel BipolarIITian, and today I will share my first-hand experiences on mania and depression. My bipolar episodes always start off with a need for no or less sleep. That's a major indicator in my case. I sleep on alternate days, and that too for only 2 to 4 hours, and this pattern continues, but that doesn't mean that I feel tired or sleepy throughout the day. On the contrary, I become highly functional and productive with less sleep and think that I can take on all these new projects and be like I'm going to do this now, and you really do believe that you are overqualified or more than qualified to do these projects, which may be totally out of character. When I am euthymic, that is when I am in a stable, normal mood, I am generally an introvert and socially anxious person. But during the hypomanic phase, I become restless, I can't sit still, and pace around the room in circles at night. I feel this incredible surge of energy within me. Immediately after I was diagnosed, I couldn't figure out what to do, but now I channel it out. It becomes a compulsion. I dance around the house, even post videos of it online, which I would never ever do in my wildest dream had I been in a normal state. During mania, I feel very high about myself and also become a lot more talkative or laugh a lot. While I was preparing for UPSC in Delhi, I took philosophy as an optional subject. During my manic phase in my philosophy classes, I would give answers to every question asked or laugh aloud even when it wasn't needed. Again, this is very much out of my personality, and other students would stare at me like how weird she is. But I was least bothered. I felt that no one is better than me. That's what it does. It makes you more grandiose and it makes you believe that you are superhuman. I also become more creative in this phase. In a single night, I get hundreds of ideas, compositions, and concepts on paintings which I have now started to jot down in a diary. I take on multiple paintings at the same time but can never complete any one of them. I also become a little impulsive and tend to spend money on buying things, clothes which I probably will never wear or wear only once. I also tend to talk to myself, reenacting past conversations or even imagining future conversations all along with hand movements as if someone is really present in front of me. Once during my college days, I was alone and talking to myself when my roommate entered the room and she was like, "Who are you talking to? There is no one here." I would do it every time I would be alone, be it on the road while coming back from coaching or while in the hostel room or while commuting. I have spent years on end talking to myself the whole night. It would interfere with my sleep, but then who needs sleep when manic? In fact, right at this moment, I think I am in a manic phase. I am sleeping nearly on alternate days, and that too for a few hours with high energy. This is probably also one of the reasons why I am posting these videos, and then suddenly one day I'll totally disappear from social media for a couple of months because of depression or little activity if I am euthymic. The last time when I was in mania, it continued for 3 months. There are also these things called psychosis where people have delusions and hallucinations, and I have experienced those that were quite intense. I start to believe that the universe is communicating with me in this way of patterns through the radio, through TV, through secret messages, and certain messages that were directed to me. Maybe you need to take a step back to not be quick to take some of those symbols because you start to really get into it. When the above mentioned symptoms continue for a week or two, I become paranoid that others are trying to harm me in some way, or hallucinate that there is someone standing just outside my room, looking at me and wants to harm me. My sleep becomes compromised because of it. Because of that, I always feel drowsy and can't concentrate on my work. I make a lot of mistakes. Eventually, I am unable to sleep alone. Someone has to be with me always to keep an eye on me. At present, I am at this stage and I think I should soon consult my psychiatrist so that he can adjust the dosage of my medicines. If left unattended, gradually I'll start to hear multiple voices. Either they say negative things like you are good for nothing, you are worthless, no one likes you, your mother will kill you, etc., or third person hallucinations in which voices converse among themselves saying bad things about me. I also hear command hallucinations like jump from the terrace, leap out of the train, hit yourself, and the likes of it. Sometimes I have also acted on them when I didn't know how to handle such situations. Once, during my office hours, I was hallucinating and I had acted on it. Then I randomly messaged a few people on my contact list as a cry for help. My father immediately came to my office and took me home. I regret it even today because I had a bad experience for nearly 3 hours. I don't know what it was exactly, but it was pretty bad. I was trembling uncontrollably for a few minutes and then becoming stable. Again, after a few minutes, my whole body was trembling, and this continued for 3 hours straight. I was partially conscious during that time. My doctor then prescribed antipsychotic drugs to help me deal with them. I have experienced majorly auditory hallucination and twice or thrice visual hallucinations. I will share more of my experiences on psychosis in later videos. Few weeks after that incident, I was again becoming delusional. I believed that my father wanted to kill me and that he had an ulterior motive. I only trusted my mother. So my mother was giving me the prescribed medicines. It escalated to such an extent that one day I couldn't go to the office. I was hell scared of my father. I locked myself into my room that day and only allowed my mother inside. I didn't want to take the medicines that he was giving me. It takes at least a week for antipsychotics to work, so my psychiatrist advised me to take 7 days off from work, but the nature of my work didn't allow me to. Somehow I managed office along with my health. It was only possible because at that time I had some amazingly supportive colleagues who cared for me. And then there are those lows where I hit rock bottom and become more and more depressed. I become extremely hopeless and helpless. Every day I literally push myself to go on with daily basic activities. Getting up in the morning seems like a big task. I even lose interest in doing things that I love. I like to stay alone. I feel that nobody loves or cares for me, or rather, to put it more accurately, I feel that I am incapable of being loved. I just sleep all day long or simply lie on bed without moving or doing nothing, or sometimes binge eating. I also keep having intrusive thoughts. Once I had these intense thoughts of harming myself. Despite trying hard, I was unable to fight those thoughts. Almost involuntarily, I inflicted myself. Only when it really started to hurt that I stopped and called my father. My parents were concerned for me. They took an appointment with my psychologist. In that session, she shared some ways to fight with such intrusive thoughts. She advised me to be busy all the time and not to stay alone. She also told me to listen to loud music or video lectures while working with headphones on. During the depressive episode, I am so emotionally distressed that either I start crying for no apparent reason or I feel totally numb. Everything seems to spiral downwards. Initially, when I didn't know how to manage my emotions, I used to self-harm out of guilt, anger, frustration, and pain. The physical pain made me forget the overpowering emotional pain. The pain reminded me that I am alive and can feel emotions instead of feeling numb. I do not support self harm in any way. Hence, I shared it with my psychologist, and she helped me immensely in finding out ways to tackle my emotional pain. Now I know of some healthy coping mechanisms that I will definitely share with you all in my subsequent videos. When depression goes really out of control, I also have suicidal ideation. I tend to extensively research and plan out suicide. In my second and third year of college, twice I had attempted suicide because I had existential crisis and was severely depressed because of it. I thought I had no purpose and life was totally meaningless. Few of my batchmates used to call me weird for asking such questions. I had searched for the ultimate truth in almost all major religious texts, but nothing really resonated with me. Now that I look back, I realize that maybe it was because I was really depressed that I couldn't understand properly and that I lacked knowledge. After I recovered, I had even asked my counselor those fundamental questions like who am I? What's the purpose of life? What's the point of living if I have to die one day? Why was I born? What's the ultimate truth? What is the nature of reality? Do we really have free will? Etc. I don't think she actually understood where my questions were coming from, and she asked me why I was being so narcissistic. She couldn't understand that I wasn't concerned solely about myself and that it was a generalized question. And frankly speaking, I didn't have the strength to explain that to her, so I changed my counselor. I had even asked these questions to my parents, but they were also unable to answer. My father now admits that because of my asking such questions, he became interested in philosophy and he himself started searching for answers to these questions. Now, when I think of it, I regret taking such big steps, that too twice. I do not support suicide at all, and one should never attempt suicide, no matter how dire the situation is. Help is always available. My psychologist has explained that suicidal ideation is just a symptom of depression, and that's it. So now I just wait for that phase to pass. Theoretically, it sounds good, but when we are depressed, like really depressed, it becomes hard to control. I will be truthful here. Sometimes, out of compulsion, I still plan out when I have suicidal ideation. But I mentally fight with myself. I always remind and tell myself over and over again that it is just a symptom and will eventually pass once the depressive phase is over. Holding on to life seems so hard sometimes, both during manic and depressive phases. It is a constant struggle with oneself. Now I can understand and manage or mask my manic or depressive phase in front of others, but during psychotic episodes when I am unable to understand that something is wrong with me, it falls on my caregivers to be on the lookout for psychotic symptoms. It really takes a toll on me and also on the caregivers. I have read so many stories online of people with bipolar and they have experienced a lot of the same things that I did. And it's crazy, but it's hard. In my later videos, I will share ways and techniques as to how I have learned to manage and mask my symptoms over these 10 years. Some through my experiences and some as advised by my psychologist. In my upcoming video, I will share the incident of my first ever hospitalization, after which I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Thank you, that's all for today and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, take care and subscribe to my channel for more such educational videos. Please suggest any topic related to mental health on which you would like me to make a video on. Thank you.